So the stories of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, na stories them wherefore lead we towards pondering over the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, over the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Almighty Allah make we among those where they learn lessons from the stories of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And one of those beautiful stories where Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam be tell in companions them. One day Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam calling companions them, and he narrate to them a beautiful story. And it's good for us to know this story and for also learn a lesson from this beautiful story narrated by the best of narrators by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he telling companions them, he say, once upon a time there were 3 travelers by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the past, 3 travelers then be go on a journey by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the way, inasmuch as at that time, subhanallah, people be they travel on the desert by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So storm took over them people there by the will of Allah. Heavy storm, they cannot find their way. Then begin struggle so much because when heavy breeze erupts, subhanallah, in the desert, it becomes very difficult for the travelers the way they travel on the desert. Why? Because the eruption of that particular wind, it erases the sand, and it becomes very difficult for open the eye or for finding a way out by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when storm took over, then 3 travelers there, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then decide to find the closest of shelter. What was the closest point where we they close to them as a means of shelter? They saw a cave by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When they saw this particular cave, they all unanimously agree that we need to enter in this cave in order to be saved from this storm where they took over this particular desert by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 3 of them enter in the cave. When they enter in the cave, what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide to test them by the mercy of Allah. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did? Almighty Allah roll a very big rock. And this rock roll, and it close the exit points. Subhanallah. Many times a cave, it's a one way in, a one way out. Many times, that is exactly the definition of a cave. So when they enter in this particular place, this big rock just roll. When it roll, it close the exit points. Subhanallah. And then suddenly, they start turning up and down. They not get any way for come out again. Why? Because the only way has been blocked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the owner of all ways. May Almighty Allah grant you ways. So when this rock blocked this exit point, the 3 travelers them in the cave, they unanimously agreed again. And one of them they say nothing no go to save we inside this particular cave until and unless we confess to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the deed what we do solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the only thing we will save we in this cave. Because on we own, collectively, we're not going to shake this rock. Not for talk about for roll the rock away from the exit point. There is no way we can do that. The only way we go save we in this particular place. Now for let we communicate to Allah. Now for let we confess to Allah the deeds that we will do solely for the sake of Allah. And unanimously they agreed. So one out of the 3 stood up and he said, Ya Allah. He said, oh you Allah. He said, me, I beget me parents. Me 2 parents, them be there alive, and they all be don't carry age. He said, when they carry age, I take oath to you, Allah, for say, I no go ever eat before me parents. Me family no go ever eat before me parents them. Until and unless they eat first, before me and me family eat. He said, when I take this oath, I continue for look after me parents them. Until one day, I went out in search of food for my parents them. But I not be lucky on that day. Forget food very early. So I continue the search. I continue for search until I go so far that before I get the food and come back to them, I meet they don't sleep. Subhanallah. When this man go as far as possible, he got the milk as a food by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he returned back, it was already too late. Subhanallah. This man is saying, confessing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, when I returned, it was too late, and me papa and mama already be don't sleep. He said, and I hate for wake them, where they sleep. So I decide for all the milk na mi an, atinap na the door of me parents them. Subhanallah. Me no drink the milk even though I be hungry. And also I not give me picking them for drink the milk even though they say be hungry. Subhanallah. Me family they cry under me foot for this milk. I tell them say me no go drink from this milk. Una self no go drink from this milk until me parents and grab them drink from the milk. Subhanallah. He say atinap na that particular door until Doklin from next 10 in the morning. Subhanallah. He say when me parents then grab, I give them the milk, then drink. After we then drink the leftover, where they left, now he and me family share. Subhanallah. This man turned to Allah. He say, in kuntu fa'altu dhalik ibtigha'a wajhik. Ya Allah, if I be do this particular act for seek your pleasure, Ya Allah, fafuruj anna ma nahnu fi. Ya Allah, save we from this condition. Ya Allah, save we from this particular cave by your mercy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew that what this particular first traveler say, it was true, because Almighty Allah be witness exactly what happened even before the incident. After this first traveler don't explain this particular explanation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala agreed with the explanation. And what did Allah do? He shook the rock by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he shook the rock, subhanallah, then begin see lights, then begin get small breeze, but then still not able to come out. Subhanallah. And then the second one also stand up. He say, Ya Allah. He say, me, I beget me cousin. I beget me cousin. And this me cousin, I like him more than how any man can like a woman. I beget extra love for this woman. And I be one time for myself. I be one time by hook or crook. Until one day, after long resistance, where this woman they resist, the more I they call them, for let I get her who say I want them, this me cousin they resist me. Until one day it become difficult upon them. And this me cousin come to me for help. When he come to me, he say he dey in need of help. Difficulty don't catch him and the entire family. He say, I give this me cousin 120 dinar by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is over today. We talk about over million by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, 2 trillion by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we talk about we own currency, it's over 3 million loans by the will of Allah. He says, so I give him this money with an agreement that in need for do exactly waiting woman for do for man. Subhanallah. That was the agreement. And because this woman be there in need, he said, my cousin agree. He agree, say, he go ready for do exactly waiting I want for let he do for me. So I give him the money. We enter inside room. We close the door. And then me and into one-on-one in a state known as no retreats, no surrender. He said, in fact, I be there between in 2 ties. Subhanallah. He said, and this me cousin. He look me in my eye and he tell me, say, oh, you this man, ittaqillah, be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ittaqillah, fear Allah, not break this seal where you not get the legal right for dua. Subhanallah. This second speaker, subhanallah, he said, when this me cousin tell me this one, he said, I can't down from a straight, I not do anything with him again, and I tell and say for dress up, and he dress up, I tell and say, go, take all the 120 dinar, and not go take away from you, and I not go do again what I want do to you. Go, and they fear Allah. Subhanallah. This second man say, Ya Allah, in kuntu fa'altu dhalik, ibtigha'a wajhik. Ya Allah, if I be do this act, in order for seek your pleasure, I'm not afraid policeman, I'm not afraid soldier. This woman not say afraid the police or soldier. He say, ittaqillah. Fear Allah. He said, I be afraid you. And left this woman, even though I be get the power for do whatever to have for do with her in haram, but I left her for your pleasure. Ya Allah, if I be do this for seek your pleasure, Ya Allah, save we from this condition who they into. Almighty Allah knows it was true. What happened? Allah shake the rock again for the second time. And in this particular moment, they begin get more breeze and then see more lights but then still unable to come out by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The last one out of the 3 travelers, in setting up, he say, Ya Allah, me, you be bless me with wealth. So because of that, I employ many workers them. When I employ them for work for me, with an agreement for pay them, he said at a particular point, I pay all the other workers them beside one. One just go, I don't know exactly who I go. He not tell me goodbye, but if he don't work for me and he deserve a pay. When he go, he not tell me goodbye. I don't know exactly who I go. I not use the money, but rather I fruitify in money. I invest in money, and this in money become a very big investment by the will of you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After a long time, this particular man will be work for me. When I collect in salary, he come later and he come at me. He say, Ya Abdullah, O you the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, me na be so and so worker. We be work for you, we be go for so and so reason, and I not be collect me salary. I don't come for me salary. He say, now tell this me worker here. I say, you see all the camel there under we see? The worker say, yes, I see them. He say, you see all the sheep and goats there under? He say, yes, I see them. You see all that gentry under? He say, now he say, yes, I see them. He say, now you get the all. He say, now in this worker, subhanallah, he tell me, he say, Ya Abdullah, oh you the slave of Allah, no provoke me. Me salary where you for pay me, you not even do for buy one sheep, not for talk about a camel. How comes I get this boku goodness? He say, now tell and say, the money will for pay you because you not be collect them, I invest them, now the profit this today, out of your money will invest. So for that reason, take everything, now you get up. He said, this me servant here, he take everything, he collect everything, he not left even one grey sheep as tenki. He not even left one grey goat as tenki. He collects everything and then he walk away. And I not stop him, I not ask him for commission for the work I do for him. I allow him for go for your sake. He say, Ya Allah, in kuntum fa'altu dhalik ibtigha'a wajhik. Ya Allah, if I be do this do ya for your sake only, for seeking pleasure, Ya Allah, save we from this condition what they into. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala realize that what in this third traveler say, it is true. Almighty Allah shake the rock off by the will of Allah, and the rock roll again away, and the place was open by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the 3 travelers them walk out by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, safe and sound. Why? Because they did them solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The question I want to ask now, how many of these where you don't do solely for the sake of Allah? Why? Because you'll be caught up in a moment wherein you need to talk to Allah direct. The deed where you don't do solely for His sake. May Almighty Allah make we among the one them where they do deeds them solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This particular story was narrated by Muhammed sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So it is authentic, clean and pure, and it is reported by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in many of the authentic hadith book them by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Almighty Allah make we among the one them where they learn lesson from the stories of the Quran and the stories of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant we way out in moment of difficulty by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.